Welcome to our weekly podcast show. This is a new feature that we are providing for the podcast. We're here at the University of Rio Grande, OSU South Center's collaboration at the University of Rio Grande studio. Each week on our podcast, we feature a Southern Ohio small business student to faculty administrator at the University of Rio Grande. We also feature program managers from the Ohio State University South Centers or Southern Ohio Community Economic and Development Program individuals, sometimes community organizations, and other times special guests. Our mission is simple: to promote the University of Rio Grande and its diverse educational programs, promote the Ohio State University South Centers and its many business technology programs, and finally promote Southern Ohio, a great place to live, learn, enjoy life to the fullest. Co-hosts are Jason Winters, Director of the Center for Small Business Entrepreneurship, Mike Thompson, Instructional Design and Media Services Director, Kimberly Rausch, Program Assistant with the Ohio State University South Centers, and Patrick Dangle, Business Development Specialist with the OSU Rio collaboration. In this segment, we are going to be featuring Phyllis Mason. She is a Vice President in Human Resources with the University of Rio Grande at a special time of 1:30. Let's listen to Phyllis as she highlights some of the topical areas that she will be discussing.
For the first time in history, 4 generations of employees will be working side by side in employment situations. 50% of the current workforce are baby boomers, and they will be retiring in the next 5 years. So who is managing who and how? Management of different generations of workers has indeed become a challenge, as each generation has his or her own workplace characteristics based on their life, their education, their wants and needs. Who's entitled, who is not. Who's loyal, who is not, or at least it seems that way. What style fits your business, what doesn't. Generational differences at work can affect everything, including recruiting, building teams, dealing with change, motivation, managing and maintaining and increasing productivity. Think about how generational differences relate to how people communicate. That might affect their misunderstandings, and then they'll have a high employee turnover, difficulty in attracting employees, and gaining employee commitment. Think for a minute about your last family holiday or vacation. Maybe it was Christmas, maybe it was Thanksgiving. You probably had 4 generations at the event. Your parents, they're the generations known as veterans. You, the baby boomer generation. Your children, Generation X, and their children or your grandchildren, Generation Y. You all try to get along together, but due to backgrounds and experiences, it's not always a happy ending, and you may end up saying, I'm never going to try this again. That may be what happens when you try to manage in one generation or another. You may want to say, this is never going to work, it's not going to happen again. Discussion today will be on the 4 generations' workplace characteristics and how to manage. Veterans are those that are born from 1922 to 1945. They respect authority. They've probably been in a war or had someone in their family in a war. They're conformers. They're used to being managed by discipline. They're from a traditional nuclear family. Mom, dad, and sometimes extended families, grandparents lived with them. How do they communicate? Rotary phones. Some of you don't even know what a rotary phone is. Or they communicated one-on-one. They might write a memo. What do they do about their financial situations? A lot of them had been through the Great Depression. So they took their money and they put it away. They saved for the future because they didn't know how long they would have their money. They paid cash for things. If you didn't have the money to buy it, you didn't buy it. Then you have the baby boomers. They're from 1945 to 1964. They're very optimistic and they want to be involved. Their families were disintegrating. Some of them had split, some of them were from, did not live with their extended families. They think of working as a birthright. A job to a veteran was a dream. How do baby boomers communicate? Touch-tone phones and call me anytime. How do they go do their financials? Buy now, pay later. And some of them have not saved enough for their retirement, which they are now going to find out. Generation X, that's born between 1965 and 1990. They're skeptic. They like fun. They're not into formality at all. They like informal things. They're latchkey kids. That means that mom and dad were not home when they came home from school. They want to get, they think that their job is, they have to get it. They're entitled to it. How do they communicate? Cell phones. Call me anytime, but only at work. And then the Generation Y is just hitting the scene, so they have a whole new way to interact at work.